Welcome back to Amazingly Average, the show with advice from amazingly average authors and actors. My name is John, and I have to be in the dentist's office in exactly 7 hours, which means I'm gonna film this, edit this, not sleep at all, then go to the dentist, then have a double shift at work. The things I do for terrifying Tuesday deadlines. Today's episode of Scream was called Happy Birthday to Me. I've never heard of this movie before, so I had to look it up. Here are the spark notes of Happy Birthday to Me. There's this high school clique called the Top 10, which is a bunch of really rich, snotty kids. This rich girl named Anne, and it's her birthday, and a couple of the people from the top 10 show up, and then some of them don't. For the rest of the movie, there's this girl, Jenny. She's seeing all of her rich friends being murdered, and then at the end of the movie, she's drugged. She wakes up at this pity party looking thing that says happy birthday to me. All of her dead friends are sitting in these chairs around the table. This doppelganger of her has done all this. Doppelganger somehow wipes away their makeup, and it's been Anne the whole time. Anne goes on to tell Ginny that she was pissed that people didn't show up to her birthday or something, and that she was mad at Ginny because Ginny's dad slept with Anne's mom or something like that. Scream one. Then Ginny ends up killing Anne, and then the cops show up. Ginny's standing in this room full of dead bodies. It's basically a big pity party. It's my party and I'll cry if I want to. You would cry too if it happened to you. Now on to the Scream episode. I missed the first couple minutes of this episode because my chicken teriyaki took way longer to make than I was planning on. Fun fact, my computer keeps autocorrecting Kieran to Kern. Eli shows up at the coffee place. He's applying, and then he asks her what she's doing for Kieran's birthday or something like that. Emma says that she's having a private, small birthday thing with Kieran, and Eli says, nah, he would like to have a big party. And she's like, okay. Eli even offers to buy them beer with a fake driver's license. It is a flirt fest, barf fest. Brooke and Jake are texting back and forth a little bit. Jake says, I want you to beg. And Brooke says, I don't beg. And Jake says, either way, I'll see you tomorrow. Gustavo stares at Audrey for more than 3 seconds. This is Audrey's cue to assume that this is the killer. Audrey excuses herself from study hall, pulls the fire alarm, everyone gets ushered out. She walks back in, looks at Gustavo's iPad, and she sees all these morbid drawings of the Lakewood Six. And then Emma's is like this bludgeoned, knife in the head, gothic mess. Mayor Maddox shows up at Sheriff Acosta's station and tells him that he has to find Jake. He's like, do the paperwork. And the mayor's like, I made your job. You're gonna do this for me. And he basically says that Jake screwed him over on something and then fled town. So Noah goes to talk to Zoe. He says, oh, there's a small party for Kieran, and I guess I could bring a guest. And then Zoe's like, yeah, I guess you can. And then goes back to her stuff, and she's very cold to him about this. Something's not right here. And then Brooke shows up and says, I'll pick you up at 8 or whatever. Audrey asks Noah what he thinks about Gustavo, and Noah vouches that he thinks Gustavo's a pretty okay guy. And Audrey's like, nah, screw that. Emma and Eli are setting up the party for Kieran. Eli's making a cocktail. He asks Emma how she thinks it is. She says it's good, and he says that he's made this for his mom since he was 9. She starts laughing, and he's like, no, really. Troubled childhood, maybe? Is his mom an alcoholic? My notes say that Emma and Eli are setting up Kern's party. The two of them are setting up some sort of happy birthday banner. Eli falls onto Emma a little bit. They stare at each other for a couple seconds. They're like about to kiss. I'm gonna recreate my reaction. Whoa! The doorbell rings. Oh, thank God. Brooke walks in. She puts this bottle of tequila on the counter. Emma's like, oh, you didn't have to bring anything. And she's like, no, it was already there. And then she reads this little card on the bottle, and it says that it's from Jake. This small party is actually very big. Gustavo's walking around with a tray of shots from the tequila. Every single person in the party has a shot. Kern shows up at the party, and he does not look thrilled. Emma says that Eli told him that Kern would like the big party, and he was like, no. Kern basically is stabbing Eli with his eyes. The tequila makes everybody gnarly sick, and they're all tripping. Gustavo thinks that this tequila might have been tampered with some sort of drug that he apparently tried one time in like the deserts of Arizona. He said that the drug affects everybody differently. It makes him very relaxed and uninhibited. It makes Eli think everything is hilarious. Zoe seems to be laughing a lot too. She becomes a hippie. Brooke is getting very sick, nauseous, time is stopping, the room is swirling. Audrey gets very, very paranoid. Brooke actually hallucinates that she's seeing Jake after Gustavo helps her into a bed and is taking care of her. Apparently it's being friendly and not being creepy to rub her feet. She hallucinates that she's seeing Jake in his place, and Jake is being very creepy. He has demonic eyes. He's saying, you're not over me yet. He's being a major asshole. Noah and Audrey both have an hallucination. I think Noah was hallucinating that he was seeing Zoe, and Audrey hallucinates that she was seeing Rachel, and apparently she was saying, I'm so sorry. The two of them start kissing. They're like, whoa. Zoe's in the corner. Noah's like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, nah, nah, nah. You guys, your energies are glowing. She then makes out with Noah, makes out with Audrey, makes them make out with each other. They make out out for a good little while. It just turns into a weird three-way kiss thing. Emma's hallucination was very weird. She sees her younger self, and then the moon is blue, and then she hears pigs squealing. She runs into the woods. She thinks she's seeing the Brandon James killer. The killer is dashing for her in the woods. She's like, this is not real. I'm not crazy. She closes her eyes, breathes. The killer's gone. And then all of a sudden, the killer jumps out from somewhere else. She runs away. She runs into her dad in the woods. How was her dad in the woods? Was this killer real? Why is everything a big question? I really think the writers are just trying to bombard us with like 6,000 plots so that way we can't possibly know who the killer is. Now the cops are at the party. While the cops are interrogating everybody, Audrey says, why don't you ask your son? He's the one that does all these creepy drawings of us. The sheriff goes and checks out his son's room while he's taking out the trash, and he finds the Brandon James mask in a box in his son's room. The next morning, Emma is quite cold to Kieran when he says that he thinks maybe she shouldn't be back in Lakewood quite yet. Zoe kind of turns down Noah because she thinks that he's in love with his gay best friend. Brooke is in a Lady of the Lake pageant. She and Zoe are both confirmed to be finalists. Blood rains down from the sky on top of Brooke, kind of like in Carrie. A dead body falls onto the stage, and now everybody knows that Jake is dead. Brooke and Gustavo kind of agree to go on a date. Very important thing that I need to stress is that all of the text messages to Audrey stopped at the beginning of this episode. Basically, all of the main suspects were with each other the entire time. And now it's time for the killer prediction. Eli doesn't really have any clear motivation to do anything yet, but he's just there. There's Gustavo, who has a very clear motive to do everything. If he wanted to be with Brooke, he would kill Jake. It's probably some sort of sad Selena situation where your fan is so obsessed with you that they kill you. And then there's Zoe, who's kind of disconnected from all the characters, so it would probably be more surprising to us if she was the killer. I'm gonna go ahead and stick to my guns and say that the killer is probably Zoe. The psych teacher, Karen Lang, is not in this episode. I'm starting to think that we can take her out of our pool of suspects. What the fudge happened to Scream After Dark? This is the third week in a row where there hasn't been a Scream After Dark. Those are the facts. I'm gonna do my best to edit this really fast. Until next time.